Hey everybody, and welcome to Twin Talk, a video discussion show where twin brothers Chris and Kevin drink and draw. We're talking about comic books, movies, and all things pop culture. We are your hosts, Chris Hart,
Kevin Hart,
and today we're going to be talking about The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Stick around to the end of the episode to see how a drawing of Spidey vs. Electro came out. And if you like what you see, subscribe to the channel for more content.
The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is the sequel to the previous Amazing Spider-Man, also directed by Mark Webb. It was released in 2014 to a mixed audience reaction. I personally love this movie, so this review for me is special to me, and I really do appreciate the movie for what it is.
I wouldn't be married without this movie. This movie is very near and dear to my heart, so we're going to talk about that, what we loved about it, what we hated about it.
The movie opens up with an amazing action sequence.
Yes.
I'm going to say amazing a lot because they say it a lot in the movie. They really hit that.
Pun intended.
Really hit that hard. In this one, they're like, hit it again. Hit the with the word. It's amazing. The amazing. This is
really
the best that Spider-Man has ever looked or will look, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think I see this
Pretty top tier right here.
Yeah, I see like this aging better than most Spider-Man movies as far as CGI wise.
And some people don't like the size of Spider-Man's eyes in this movie. I think, again, we said the suit is incredible.
Who is complaining about that?
Apparently some people out
Somebody,
there.
yeah. They don't like enough cheese on their pizza.
Exactly.
These are the people that, just Thanos
Find
needs,
something to complain
Thanos
about.
needs to come and eliminate them.
Right.
Half of society.
Right.
Spider-Man's eyes aren't big enough. Have you read a comic book? Like, it's perfection. Some of the best web slinging in all
my
of Spider-Man
goodness.
films. Like I said, the CGI is top notch. The suit is incredible. This is the Spider-Man I always wanted to see in a movie. And honestly, I wish I still had this Spider-Man, to be quite honest with you.
That opening sequence, I remember we saw it in 2D first, and it was a great experience. And then also we saw it in 3D. It was an even better experience.
IMAX 3D.
IMAX 3D, and I'm telling you, man, that's Spidey swinging. That was so unreal to witness. I was like, oh my God, this feels like a first-person POV video game. It was so believable and realistic that I felt like I was swinging. The way the suit like breathes with the air and the textures and everything. Oh my goodness.
First of all, this Blu-ray has amazing special features. Take a shot every time I say amazing.
Yeah.
You won't make it past the first 2 minutes of this video. This is what bonus features should be on Blu-ray releases.
Yes.
They don't do enough of that, honestly, in my opinion. Now, like with everything streaming, there's not enough special
I missed the
features.
bonus content. Yeah.
But I was watching it the other day. A full-length special features, by the way. It's almost like 2.5 hours worth of behind the scenes, and just seeing the different layers and stuff that they did to create that opening action sequence of him swinging and everything, and the car chase. Truly amazing stuff.
Another amazing. No, but for real, that airplane sequence with the parents is so well shot.
Yeah.
So well directed. Who doesn't have a fear of flying? But to be up in the air with a guy who's coming out of the cockpit with blood on his knuckles, I was like, oh my God.
Having a good flight.
Yeah, your wife's locked in the bathroom. The windows are shot open. That was such an intense, stake sequence in the beginning to open it up. It was a little bit of a weird transition for me because it's very somber.
Opens on a downer.
So somber. Yeah, it's like, okay.
And it picks you up with the...
Yeah, Hans Zimmer comes in to save it.
Going into like the practical effects, they built a lot of rigs and stuff, and the way they shot this was amazing. Now I'm not even meaning to do it; it's just happening. But when you go and see like the action sequences, the way they filmed them, it felt like almost like a James Bond, Jason Bourne movie with the action. It's really good stuff.
Well directed, yeah.
And to me, this is the most visually stunning Spider-Man film.
Yes.
Period. Like,
yeah, it's very good.
Like, even though it's not the greatest Spider-Man movie, it's the most well shot. Color correction is immaculate in this film. Everything about this movie is just so perfect to me as far as like the artistry goes. Story wise, it's all over the place. Yeah, but to me, visually, this is like top tier Spider-Man filmmaking. I appreciate what Mark Webb is trying to do with his different themes of time. I know he was trying to do this whole thing with a theme of time and how short time is. The movie literally starts off, the opening shot is the inside of a watch. So that was pretty cool to me. And then it ends with the climax of Gwen's death in the clock tower. So I appreciate what he was trying to do there. And as an artist director, I was hoping to see his whole story,
his vision
pan out, because I know he had a plan for the third one with Harry coming out, and then the fourth one, the Sinister Six. So I was really excited to see that. Unfortunately, we didn't get it, but for what this movie is, I'm gonna give him some leniency, knowing that he had plans, because the story is a mess. But visually and thematically, I really appreciate what he was doing as a director.
I'm mixed about it. One of my pros and cons is I did like that Harry was becoming an actual goblin, because it kind of like separates from the Raimi verse. It was a little bit more like the Ultimates, which I do prefer the bipolar, Jekyll and Hyde version of the Green Goblin. Classic Goblin, yes. Yeah. I understand why they were trying to make something different. Yeah. And the fact that it's not even Norman, like they did their own Harry. And it's a great actor in Dane DeHaan. I did like his look. I did like the glider and everything else. His laugh was perfect when he's at the end and he's like laughing. I was like, that's straight out of the 90s.
90s. It sounds
cartoons.
Very of the animated series. His laugh.
So I was like, I like that. Like, why he needed the suit for his it was like self-healing. That was kind of cool. I like the design and the ideas behind it, but there are certain things that just don't work for it. Not so much Harry, but the whole Osborn storyline. Yeah, it's kind of like
hyperplasia or whatever it's called.
Retroviral. Hyperplasia. Got like 7 foot face.
It's like, it tells him minutes before his death. Yeah, it's genetic. It's coming for you.
And they had a good actor in Norman Osborn too. I forget his name. He was in the Muppets movie. It was like maniacal.
He was also in
villainous.
The Dark Knight Rises.
Yes. Yeah.
I believe he played Thomas Wayne in The Joker.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he's a very well-known actor. I totally forget his name, but he was very good, and I could see me buying into it. I wanted to see more of Norman. I didn't like how they immediately killed him off. Like I remember being in theaters, and it pans like
what?
Like it pans like between that whole scene of like, oh, it's better this way. Like I was hoping to see Norman become something more, especially because they built him up the whole time. He's got like security guards that are like, you don't want to see this and stuff. And then it just pans to like Norman Osborn is dead. And I just remember being like, wait, what? That doesn't. That was just his way too quick.
Nemesis.
We didn't see a death on screen, so I was just not buying into it. And there was like rumors that he would have been like preserved somehow into the next one.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, like
I just don't know. There's just no way of knowing.
Deleted scenes. It was supposed to be a post-credit scene where it was like Norman's head like in a freezer.
Like Walt Disney.
Yeah. There was story issues, but at the same time, how much of that was studio interference, them trying to make a quick buck off the Sinister Six, and this was post-Avengers already, so you could tell that the studio was probably like, dude, do the thing with the Sinister Six.
Team them up, yeah.
Like, and that doesn't serve the story, the singular story, the vision of the director. He's probably like, you're drinking at night, like I gotta throw this in there, There was supposed to be a deleted scene of Norman's like head, and then the Sinister Six was set up, and even in the trailer, that man with the hat or whatever, like. It shows like Dr. Octopus's arms, the Vulture's wings, Rhino's suit, just different things like that never came to fruition. Pisses me off because I did really like this franchise and where it was going, and I wanted to see it because to me, Andrew Garfield is perfection as Spider-Man.
He's a great Spider-Man.
He's my favorite Spider-Man. To me, he's perfect right off the comics.
I like his Peter Parker better in this than the first movie. This movie, he's like well-rounded as both Peter and Spider-Man. He's dealing with, again, Dennis Leary steals the show in the 12 seconds he's in this movie. You could just feel every acting. I feel the guilt of Peter's conscience. Like, I'm not supposed to be talking to Gwen. Your sacrifice.
It's so wrong, it's right.
I don't want to make your sacrifice, in vain. And, I'm getting her in trouble and all this stuff, which eventually leads to her demise. I mean, kind of to her, she was like, yeah, this is my choice. They definitely hammered that home. Yeah. They were like, okay, we're not. The noise. Oh my God. I remember being in the Imax and hearing the noise like reverberate through and I just remember being like, oh my God, so freaked out. And, everyone's a ball of tears. My Tio Jr., our uncle grew us up on comic books, loved Gwen Stacy, loved Spider-Man. I remember him telling us these stories and he was just like wiping his like everyone was like.
Everybody that we went with that first time, everybody was
tragedy.
So the score alone in that scene, how visceral of a death it was. And also, too, just knowing the lore of the comics. Like, I really appreciate what they did with this. They had to recreate an iconic comic book
moment.
Amazing Spider-Man 121. That's like top 5 Spider-Man moments ever, and like to do that live action is almost like sacred. And I think they did an amazing job with it.
Very well. Yeah.
And
with the liberties they
took. Gut-wrenching.
Even with the liberties they took, not on the bridge, not this and that. Like, it was very well done.
Well, that's what plays into the themes. Like, I appreciate that. Like, again, going back to, like you said, Dennis Leary, he's haunting Peter in this movie. He has to make a choice as a human and a hero. Does he, pursue the girl and put her at risk? And obviously we see the outcome of that is tragic, but also that's the theme of the movie too, is like, you wish you had more time,
Right.
The death of the father, like all these different things. It's like it plays into these themes of, enjoy your life now, because even Gwen gives that like really like heavy speech
Oh
for
my goodness,
high school graduation.
No, that speech was everything, man. That speech was everything.
Just bawling because Gwen's just like, live your life, man. Because goddamn, what's the point?
Yeah, Emma Stone really sells it. And that's why I can't do this review without saying that, like, this movie honestly impacted me so much emotionally with the whole Peter and Gwen aspect that it did eventually. I was in a personal time in my life where I was just friends with what is my wife, and I was just like, oh man, what do I do? This and that. And I remember seeing this movie, and as cheesy as it is, man, like knowing that one day this person might not even be in my life. I might not have her, and I was just like, yeah, I'll go to London. They got Jack the Ripper there, and I was like, I'm gonna follow you ever.
So
I love you.
So this movie,
we're tattooed in London.
in the off chance that you're trying to save your wife in a clock tower from a goblin and she breaks her neck, you wanted to make the commitment of the wedding. Yeah,
so I want to make the most of it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get that, but that's when superhero comic books and films are their best, is when they move you,
when they seep into your personal life.
You,
yes,
and personally, individually, you want to be better, and that's why that scene of her death really is gut wrenching and heartbreaking, because the chemistry between them carries from the first film.
It's real.
They were dating in real life too, so, and I believe I heard that for that scene they separated them for a few days, so that when they finally saw each other on the day of that shooting that scene, when she's like bleeding and not living, he's like, it really impacted him as a person because that was his real life girlfriend at the time.
That was so well acted. Shine, so well acted.
Even like people said it was corny about like his him shooting the web in his hand.
Yeah.
But like again, thematically, like
the theme,
he's reaching for his loved one. That is, he's trying so hard to save her. And even before that, he's got his foot on the clock. The clock tower. He's trying to figuratively control time, stop time from this moment happening.
Yeah.
And obviously he can't. There's consequences to his actions as Spider-Man, and that plays into the comic books of like Peter's life as Spider-Man does impact him personally as Peter. So this movie nailed that for me.
There's so much good in this movie, and yet there's so much bad that it's like you're torn. I wish Electro was yellow, but the way the blue Yeah, no, like, because that's how he looks in the comic books. He's right here.
No,
like,
I get it. Yeah,
wasn't that an Ultimate, right? Jamie Foxx was supposed to like represent the Ultimate Electro, where he's blue.
That's why I bought into it, because like going back to what you said about Norman Osborn turning into a physical Goblin.
It was more Ultimate.
It was more Ultimate comics. Spider-Man. They had to differ, even though it's called the Amazing Spider-Man.
It's more of the Ultimate.
It's more of the Ultimate Spider-Man storylines, and they had to separate them as a franchise from the Raimi trilogy. So, I thought Electro looked visually spectacular, honestly.
He looked a little too similar to Mr. Freeze from my liking.
Yeah.
And, the vocal cords was cool. The way his gap got fixed, that's not cool.
That makes no sense to me.
That makes zero sense. But that Times Square sequence, I'm just going to go right into my favorite scene. That is so visually stunning. Mm-hmm. The colors, man. The saturated colors, like you said, the color correction. It was shot on Long Island, so represent.
Yeah.
And also, Electro... I liked how they made him like a character that feeds off energy. Mm-hmm. In New York, where else would you go for energy? That place is constantly. The hub. That place is constantly running. Advertising
never sleeps. Yeah.
And so that was very like the thought that Mark Webb had. Like stuff like that, I do appreciate. And his reasons for hating Spider-Man, totally left field. I hate it. But it was a very, again, visually stunning fight. When he uses his spider sense, he's got to stop everyone from touching the metal rails and electricity. That's the best spider sense I've ever seen live action.
Yeah,
how
definitely.
Everything slows down. You see his options, almost like, what did Robert Downey Jr. do? Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, yeah,
Sherlock Holmes.
When he sees the
when
fight
he sees
moves,
the options, and he almost like, telling the future kind of. So that was very well done.
This movie has amazing set pieces between the Times Square location, the clock tower at the end. I just really appreciate how they built all those things practically, because too much of movies today are green screen, and it's just, you don't feel that it's real. They literally rebuilt Times Square in Amityville. Because I remember when they were filming this, they did a casting call for extras for that scene, the Times Square scene, and I was like, yo, we should go to that. But it was also brick out. It was like they filmed it in the middle of winter. And it was just like, it was also raining too. It's like, do we really want to go to this? But I remember when they put
Once
out
in a lifetime opposite. I'll catch it next time.
Do I really want to be in an Amazing Spider-Man movie? Right. I believe this is the only film ever to be fully shot in New York for financial reasons they got like a tax break or something. But for a Spider-Man film, why not shoot completely in New York? Because a lot of movies do like the back lots and the sets and green screen. And this movie just feels more raw and realistic for me.
I'm going to keep going back to this because, again, this movie is so important to me. There's a scene in the High Line where Gwen and Peter go on the date, and that's where I proposed to my wife, was on the High Line. It was because of this movie. I swear to God, no joke.
I almost ruined that moment firsthand of you trying to propose.
This dude threw an umbrella at my face. Almost broke my glasses moments before we got on the train to the city. The train was going to be passing by. I was going to be like... As my glasses are like this from
snapping
the most important decision of my life. But yeah, personally,
I was like, Chris, blood coming out of my nose.
Snaps your neck. But like this movie is very important to me, and that's why it has such a soft spot in my heart. I will never trash this movie. The thing that really tanks this entire franchise is the fact that J. Jonah Jameson is only mentioned and referenced by an email. By a spam email. You definitely get his character, through the subject. I was like, wrong. Yeah. But I would have loved to see their take on J. Jonah Jameson.
I get why they didn't put him in this movie, because J.K. Simmons is perfect casting.
Untouchable. Yeah.
So even now, like the Homecoming trilogy or whatever, they did the right thing. Bring him back and blame the multiverse.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he's perfect casting as the Triple J, and he, even in that email, you still feel his character.
Yes,
it's good stuff. I will say the weakest element of this film is the villain storylines.
Right.
In a post Dark Knight world, you don't want movies feeling like Batman Forever, and this movie feels very reminiscent of a Joel Schumacher Batman movie with like Jim Carrey's Riddler, where he's like this obsessive freak over the main hero, and especially that beginning scene when he's got this ridiculous hair. Ridiculous comb over.
Oh my goodness.
And he's just walking around with like top secret Oscorp like building plans, like government blueprints. He's just casually walking around the most populated city with top secret blueprints.
They went
of an
so
electronic
overboard.
grid that is supposed to fuel the energy of the entire city.
Yeah, exactly.
Just walking around, and he's like, woo! Just drops him in the middle of the street.
So the three villains that are in this movie is the Rhino.
I love
Alexei 67.
I love
Paul Giamatti hams it up. I do love it. The fact that he's just wearing Adidas tracksuit.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, that's their design for. And he's got like the cheesy chain tattoo.
Yeah.
Like across his
The
forehead.
Rhino is such a corny character to me. Like
That it's like it's whatever. Yeah.
But like the way they did it in this movie, I think that's like the only way and the best way you could do it live action. And Paul Giamatti, perfect casting.
Yeah.
And the way, like you said, he's hamming it up, cheese ball, but it's cheese in a good way to me.
I love like the deleted.
He's just like, exactly.
Russia.
Dude's
just like
he's just having
going
a blast on this film, and like I do appreciate too that that's what he says in the deleted scenes. He's like, I'm from Russia, and but the movie bookends with Rhino, Alexei in the beginning, and then full on Rhino at the end with the mech suit, and I thought that was really cool. It was very cartoony, whereas the Rhino is cartoony in a good way. Electro is cartoony in a bad way for me. At least as far as Max Dillon goes, because for some reason they made him some like recluse, schizophrenic that like worshipped Spider-Man.
The one defense I will have for Max Dillon's Electro, Jamie Foxx, how he portrayed it, I hate the look. I hate everything about it.
He just if he didn't look that stupid.
I hate his he didn't have to look that corny.
The gap teeth.
It's so bad. His character, the way how he, like you said, he was a recluse. He was like, everyone forgot his name, his birthday, this and that. And the fact that he got this like almighty power, that was kind of cool. How
that
it was like,
serves him.
It was like
in
they
see,
story, they see me, stuff like that. I kind of bought into. He was like, they see me, and now he had the power. The tables turned kind of where he was like, now like he was a god, kind of right. Like, and I did.
He
like
even says that. I think that was his end game. He was like
a god named Sparkles.
Take the power. That was great. But take the power back. He wanted to control the power, so that people would basically worship him the same way that he worshipped
how he would
Spider-Man.
Like it was going for him. And he's like, I'm gonna show them, like especially when he was getting like tested on. He was like, a world without power, a world without light. And I was like, okay. But then he was like, a world without Spider-Man. It's like, dude. Spider-Man was the only guy that did recognize it. He was like, why are you turning on him so much? Because I guess he thought he was siding with the cops when they like sniped you. It just went so
he
so
felt
quick.
Betrayed by Spider-Man.
It went so quick. I was like, what is going on? There's no way this guy would become evil based on that. But they were showcasing that he was a little bit off. The whole thing where he was like, you don't know Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. He's a Sagittarius. I'm a Leo.
Like that was hilarious. But I did buy into Harry Osborn's motivations more because he just wanted to live. And he was like, I could see why he hated Spider-Man a little bit more because he was like, oh, first of all, he's my best friend. He finds out he's his best friend, Peter Parker. It's like, wait, you refuse me blood? You know I'm dying? Are you kidding me? These long lost buddies. Which, how did you feel about their relationship?
Yeah, I mean, like, it feels very rushed because there was no backstory, obviously. But, like, you know, being a comic fan, you know that they are best buds. I buy into the whole thing that he was shipped off to boarding school from Norman at a young age.
That's been like a decade since
for like 10 years, and he was there for him when his parents died, when Peter's parents died. So, what they do with the story, like, I buy into that as far as their relationship. Also, Dane DeHaan, great actor, hot off of Josh Trank's Chronicle, which is an amazing film.
Movie.
Yeah. Dane DeHaan's a great actor, and I felt he was a very good, definitely a better actor than James Franco.
Oh,
so I was really
better,
looking forward to seeing his take on Harry Osborn. Another pro of this movie to me is the score.
Yes.
Hans Zimmer comes on to do another superhero film.
Yeah.
And he also worked with Pharrell Williams, and like you said, the triumphant Spider-Man score is great, but I really like the electro suite, like the
I do.
The guitar is sick, and it's like paranoia, schizophrenia, Bud Light Seltzer, but like
they lied
to me. They shot. Was that Little John, by the way? It's like
it was just getting up
the dubstep. I appreciate what they were trying to do. Like, okay,
I did like
he's an electric character. We want his music to feel very electric.
Final grade for this movie, I gave The Amazing Spider-Man a 7.5. I'm gonna go a little bit higher because it just resonates with me more. I'm gonna go with an 8 because as much as it means to me personally, you know, my wife married me, and you know the whole thing.
She remembered
you. Remember my name. That's why we fell in love. But like,
you were in the elevator with you. I'm having a birthday party, a lot of celebrities. But what'd you give it? 8.
8. I'm gonna go 8.
I'm gonna go a little higher. 8.5. Like, I know people hate this movie, but to me, it's more fun than the first movie, The Amazing Spider-Man. It's very ambitious. Colorful. It's more colorful, energetic, playful, cartoony. For me, the good outweighs the bad. For that reason, I'm going to give it an 8.5. I appreciate what this movie did, and I'll always love this movie, and rewatching it was a blast.
What did you guys think about The Amazing Spider-Man 2? Let us know in the comments below. Anyways, that about wraps up today's episode of Twin Talk. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment below to join the discussion, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content. We'll see you next time. Peace!